Fresh, healthy ingredients, easy to follow recipes, shipped to your door. Limited time, get $30 off your first box. Go to HelloFresh.com, free shipping, HelloFresh.com/Colin. He's my friend. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Super Bowl champ. His son's going to be playing in the game. He's NFL on Fox. Let's bring him on. Howie Long is in Los Angeles and not the Super Bowl. Usually you're at the big shindig, so you're just hanging out in L.A.
Yeah. Our other boy, Kyle, had a couple of surgeries yesterday, so just out here making sure he's good. He's good to go.
All right. So, listen, a lot of people think I'm nutty, but...
Do they? That's a shock.
Okay, all I'm saying is I have a theory, and it's only because of clues. Okay? My clues are Belichick's going opposite brand. He's literally got no succession plan at quarterback if 40-year-old Tommy gets hurt. He's now making calls on behalf of his coordinators. And, oh, yeah, now he's a stand-up comedian at the Super Bowl. Howie.
Oh, I don't know. That's a reach.
Well, okay, it's a reach, but he's more glib than he's been.
I think doing the thing with Bill Parcells and giving more access.
Howie, am I nuts?
And Brady doing Tom versus time. You know, it's kind of like the Russian nuclear building, which has been off access for decades and decades. Suddenly we're doing interviews in the nuclear facility.
Why is that?
I don't know. It certainly would, if you're thinking at some point here it's going to end. I don't know. I have no indication that that's the case.
But you don't think I'm crazy?
Look, you're a grassy knoll guy. I know that. And I'm sure he gets a pretty big kick out of this, and Tom gets a pretty big kick out of this to a certain extent. I'm not sure when it's going to end, but they certainly are giving more access than they typically do.
By a lot.
I mean, it's, the safest place to keep your money would be the Patriots facility. I mean, no one's getting in.
Right.
Yeah.
So, by the way, the Tom versus Time documentary, you could say he's obsessed. I'm fascinated by it. You know, you're a clean living guy now. My wife says this often. She's like, God, he looks fantastic. And I think part of it is you have a really great family. You got a smart wife who challenges you. But you're a guy that's taking care of yourself. You look fantastic. I'm watching this Brady stuff, and I'm laughing at it. He's like, I could sit here all day and watch film, and he's drinking a kale shake. And is there, in all this like obsessive nature, how obsessive were you at the end? Do you think it's a little weird?
I was horribly obsessive. Not like him in terms of the training. God, I think, gives everyone different physical abilities, and Tom, you saw him at the combine, and when you stack Tom up physically against quarterbacks, like for example Terry Bradshaw, when Terry played, Terry was a freak of nature.
Terry today.
I mean, cannon, could run like a deer,
thick,
all those things.
Trunky,
yeah,
thick.
And he still is. He's thick, but a little thicker than he'd probably like right now. But he's thick, and he was a great athlete. But when you stack him up against, ironically enough, I think the thing that defined the two quarterbacks of this generation, Brady and Manning, it's not their physical abilities.
No.
It's the head and the heart.
Yep.
It's the preparation. I'm not only going to review what you've done this season, I'm going to go back 4 seasons and look at what you did in the third quarter versus the Bengals in a game when you were down by 20.
You know what I think that is, Howie? I think the game's smarter. We don't have
you have more information. I went from, I would literally tape a sheet up on my bedroom wall and do reel-to-reel film when I first got in the league. I would have to carry a VCR on the plane with me to take it, get the security guy up in the hotel room to unscrew the pay-per-view box to put my VCR in there. They have it's on your iPad. You can see every cut, every situation.
Howie, I've been told that when the game ends and you get on the plane, you've got the film ready to go.
I've got a breakdown of the previous 3 games of every conceivable situation. 3rd and long, 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. On the flight home. There's no telling. I'd be crazy.
Okay, Howie Long's joining us, a Hall of Famer. The Brady and the Michael Jordan comparisons are obvious. First of all, they both had great coaches, Phil and Belichick. They both had really good players. Maybe not the best good teammates, Scottie Pippen, your Gronks. And both are the greatest of all time in their respective sports. And they both had a little controversy. MJ, was he gambling when he retired? Spygate, But to me, the separator is, and I think you may agree, first of all, I think it's harder to win in football. You have a bad game, you're over. I mean, Michael Jordan had multiple bad games against the Sonics in the finals, against the Jazz. There's a tomorrow.
Well, we play 17 games, 16 games in a 17-week season, and the playoffs are not best of 7, best of 5. It's one game. Who's hot? Who plays well that day? I think it's far more difficult to field a competitive football team with a 53-man roster, offense, defense, sub packages on both defense and offense, special teams, kicking games, situational football, and the numbers. And I gave your research person the numbers. Over Brady's career, I think it was.
Here it is right here.
Here it is right here.
Now look at this, folks.
67 different wide receivers, okay. 63 different offensive linemen, 46 different tight ends, 46 different running backs.
Okay. That's incredible.
No, it's amazing. And the other thing that's so impressive, the constants have been, it's Bill, it's Robert Kraft, it's Tom Brady, and to a certain extent Gronk. I mean, I can be you can be me. We're all interchangeable. Therefore, we're all replaceable in this salary cap era.
Right.
And when you consider it, who are the great dynasty teams? Terry's team with the Steelers, the Dallas Cowboys. You name
Bill Walsh,
yeah, you name the team. San Francisco, they had pretty much the same group,
at least the same brains.
The same brains, but a lot of the same players. Same running back, same wide receiver. It was Jerry Rice, Taylor. It was that same group. Rathman at fullback, and the defense was pretty constant. They added some pieces. They brought in Dion, and
right.
This is the Roman Empire. What they've done, they will out-prepare you. Their ability to change season to season, week to week, half to half, quarter to quarter, series to series.
We've never seen that.
Unparalleled.
Okay, now your son Chris played for the Patriots for a year. Belichick actually said this week, he said, actually, he fits better with Philly than he did with us. We loved him, but sometimes players fit different cultures.
Say goodbye to Takeout.
So now your son's with Philadelphia.
Fresh.
And you don't have to give away any secrets here, Howie. But let's talk a little bit about just the vibe, the locker room, the cultures, the differences between the two.
Well, there's the Patriots and there's everybody else.
Okay.
In terms of culture.
All right.
I mean, it's on lockdown. I think there's people in the building that, your key card only gets you on the 3rd and 2nd floor, but it doesn't get you on the 4th floor. I mean, that's the kind of.
It's the CIA.
It really is. And it's remarkable that more things don't get out, but they don't. And their players all give you the pat answer on a weekly basis.
Right.
And it's, the difference between, for example, the difference between Jacksonville and New England, their approach to the upcoming game.
Completely different.
Completely different.
Jacksonville's
if someone
got a
in that locker room, you know what? If there's the fear that you have on Sunday of playing poorly on one play and coming in on Monday morning and having to deal with Bill Belichick.
What did Chris, your son, though, take away, watching Brady practice? Because so much of this, we forget this. Brady practices a lot more than he plays. And your son watched those practices. Any takeaways on Tom facing him, being a teammate, just kind of the whole thing?
I think relentless. His preparation is relentless. His attention to detail, the situational football, not only for Tom, but for Bill and everyone on that coaching staff. The expectation of everyone in the building is that their preparation has to match that preparation that Bill approaches and Tom approaches the game with. It's not for everyone. And they've had players come in there, really talented players at wide receiver, at defensive end, at other positions. Week to week, your role changes. You could be getting 20 carries one week, and then the next week you get 0 carries. That's just the way that team works. And it's whatever, when Bill says, and people make fun of it all the time, we'll do whatever's best for the team. They truly do whatever's best for the team.
Now, there's a feeling, I was reading a story yesterday, Pro Football Focus is one of those, Chris Collinsworth owns that baby, I think. If you ever go to PFF?
No.
Oh, I do. Oh, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, you would.
Yeah, because I got a gigantic brain that needs nourishment.
I don't have a gigantic brain, so I just look at the film.
Oh, be quiet. You're the smartest guy in our building. All right, so anyway, it's called Pro Football Focus. And I can judge for myself corners, edge rushers, quarterbacks, backs. I've watched football for 40 years.
Teams are calling right now to bring you in.
Yeah, a lot of
draft.
people. This phone is like an archive system. Now, interior line play. I don't know, guards, tackles, centers, interior linemen.
Well, here's the problem.
Pro Football Focus, by the way, is great at that.
Here's the only problem I have with Pro Football Focus.
What is it?
It's great for, drop balls, pressures, quarterback hits, all those things that are tangible. You could look at that and say, the person who's evaluating a player or a team in that particular game doesn't know what their scheme is or that player's responsibility on any given play.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But at PFF, give them some love here, 14 of the 20 best players, they say, are Eagles. And so my takeaway is this is starting to feel a little bit like the Seattle-New England Super Bowl, where the sense was, boy, the volume, the speed. I mean, there's nobody like Fletcher Cox on New England. There's nobody like Richard Sherman on Seattle. I am hearing a lot of this. Well, Philadelphia's got better players. Do you believe that?
It's really not about being better players. It's about who's better prepared, who's poised enough through 4 quarters of 60 minutes of football. I remember standing there on the sideline in the Super Bowl last year, having kind of, not overtly, but, kind of in a subtle way, pushed Chris towards New England. I'm looking at the divisional titles. I'm looking at the Super Bowl appearances. I'm looking at the Super Bowl rings. And Atlanta was one of the teams that Chris was considering going to. And here they are down 28-3, and I'm the worst dad in the world. This team challenged you. I don't know what New England's going to do coming out in this game. What type of formation packages, what personnel grouping, what type. They could be a 4-3, they could be a 3-4, they could zone, they could go man.
They may not throw to Gronk for 25 minutes. That's their thing.
Right.
Where you think they're going there. Remember last year Chris Hogan was great in the AFC Championship? Didn't throw to him for an hour and a half. In the
How
Super
many
Bowl.
teams had Danny Amendola?
Jesus, he was good against Jacksonville.
No, but how many teams had Danny Amendola?
He's been on scout.
Philadelphia was one of them. So Danny, and I know Danny well. Danny played with Chris in St. Louis.
So do you think Philadelphia's got more good players?
I think you could make that case.
Best player in the game, not at court. Okay, take Brady out.
Right.
Take Brady out of the game. Is the best player Fletcher Cox? I think it is.
You can make that argument, yeah. I think Fletcher is a unique talent, big, physical, athletic, and that defensive front and the rotation of that defensive front will be a big key. And trust me, New England is not going to allow that defensive front from a scheme standpoint to dominate the football game. So you've got to be patient. You've got to keep grinding.
Patient.
Because at the end of the day, what's the average score of the Patriots Super Bowl wins?
24-21.
Right. So it's going to be close. You've got to have something in your tank at the end, and there's going to be that drive that defines the game.
By the way, joining us live from the Super Bowl is Howie's buddy, Terry Bradshaw, who is a spokesman for Tide, which I via the Coward Global Satellite Network. Terry, you can take that gum out there, Terry. I really appreciate that.
Hey, you caught me, huh?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm sweating like crazy.
That's a shock.
Nuts.
Why are you sweating?
Yeah. Hey, Howie, how you doing, bub?
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Okay. Hey, Terry.
Everything's good with Kyle?
Yeah, it's good. He's good. It was tough post-op, but he's good. He's excited. He was raring to go this morning. Tried to hit me on the way out of the hotel room. So I know he's good.
Good.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, give him a kiss for me, will
I
you?
will, buddy.
All right.
This is cute.
Terry, I have
got Howie on there, huh? This is great.
Yeah, Howie and I kind of agree on something, that every mystery has clues. So Brady trades away his backup quarterbacks both for lower than market value. We think it's fishy. He is now calling teams, helping his coordinators get jobs. We think it's fishy.
Belichick is.
Yeah. And now number 3 is he can't stop.
Don't confuse my guy.
Don't confuse. And number 3 is Belichick has never been this glib. He's never been this funny at a Super Bowl. It feels, Terry, like, and Howie agrees with me, it feels like it's getting near the end for Belichick, and we wouldn't be shocked if he won and walked out. Are we nuts?
Well, last year, Howie, you recall how loose he was in Houston. He was smiling on the football field in warm-ups. He was pointing at Jimmy for me to get Jimmy and touch Jimmy so Jimmy would turn around at him. And he was pretty loose last year. I think when you could read into it all you want, but I seriously think that he's probably enjoying. He's having a good time. He knows he has a good team. He knows he can win this game. I think he's enjoying it.
Well,
I don't think he's fighting it.
Hey, Terry, one of the things that I said was the 58-year-old me is a lot different than the 48-year-old me. Maybe he's enjoying it more this time around. He's enjoying the experience.
Well, you're right.
Hey,
Sure.
Terry. So Terry, give me.
I just don't see him. I don't see him retiring. I mean, it's going to happen eventually. I don't think he's a coach that says, I'm going to stay and outlast Brady so that when Brady's gone, I'll show you guys that I can win with somebody else. Well, we already know he can do that. Look at all the money he's made backup quarterbacks when they went somewhere else and became starters.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to lose Brady to prove anything to me. So
Okay.
I don't think he's going to retire.
Okay.
I think he's sold out on coaching as long as he can.
Okay, so let me then take
Or won't
Howie's point. Howie's point is men change over time, people change. Terry, go to your Super Bowls. Were you a little looser in your last Super Bowl than your first? To Howie's point, he's been to a lot of these. He's having fun. Let's go to your career, Terry. Did you change personality-wise pre-first Super Bowl, pre-last?
Yes. I got worse. I got worse.
Wait a second. You drew up a play in the dirt to beat the Rams. Am I right?
That's totally not true, Howie. You got to stop saying that.
Hey, listen, it makes for a good story, buddy.
I intellectually
stop it.
pulled that play up. Okay. I went to the sideline and they gave me the play on the sideline. That's how I got the play. That's the truth. Because here's what Chuck said. Chuck said, Super Bowl 14, we're not going to beat these guys unless we throw the football deep, which was shocking to me since we were a team. And in that game, we ran. We were a running team, and I just never gave up on the running game because that's how I was coached. So to hear him say we're not going to win this unless we throw deep was like music to my ears, but somewhat out of character for him. And he was right. 70 slot hook and go was the first touchdown pass to Stallworth. It was open right, so he went to the slot on the right. And hook and go almost knocked down. But Stallworth made a catch. So the very next third down possession that we got into, 3rd and long, I said to myself, worked one time, call it again. And it was so wide open the second time I called it that I had a little panicking because I'm like, wow, how do I get this to him? I don't want to lead him. I just want him to catch it.
Right.
We locked this game up. And John made a phenomenal catch. I mean, unbelievable catch because I actually threw it and Hail Married it right over, and he turned his body to make the catch. So same play twice. And the first long pass was against the blitz, and just
here we go. I want to segue to this, Terry. I want to segue to this. So Bob Kraft and the Kraft family acknowledged yesterday. They admitted that there has been tension in the last couple months. There's tension. Now they said it's not dysfunction, but there has been tension, and tension's a good thing. That's what they said. Well, the stories have now been reported, Terry, that you and Chuck Noll, you weren't sending Christmas cards all the time. Does tension to you, when you hear there's tension the last 2 months in New England, what's your takeaway on that?
Well, I don't know what's going on in New England. So if he says they had tension, they're expected to win up there. That's the bottom line. And they're expected to win Super Bowls. And
they really are.
And Kraft if Belichick and them are having tensions, I don't have a clue what that's about, unless Bill's wanting a bigger raise or I don't know whatever he wants, give it to him. But I don't know about tension. I never felt at the last 2 months of the season that I had any more tension with my coach than I had any other time, because most of this was just on me. It was my feeling the pressure of winning and getting the playoffs and winning playoff games and then getting to the Super Bowl. So that's a lot of pressure. You're not the happiest guy in the world because you're so focused. So you're not you're not telling jokes and having a good time. You are literally so locked in.
There's no time to enjoy.
So I don't sense that anything changed the last 2 months. I don't know where Kraft's, maybe Kraft wants to be, maybe he wants Bill to come over to his house or tell him how much he loves him. I have no idea.
There are guys.
I know one thing. I'm tired of Kraft wearing what?
There are guys that you just don't go for long walks on the beach with. Tom Coughlin, Bill Belichick, Chuck Noll. If you're looking for a relationship, if you're looking to go out to dinner and have a good time, they're not the guys to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah, and why now? Why you want to have a relationship now? Why? He's just telling us something that happens every year, the last 2 months of the season. He just never was asked.
Right.
Did someone ask him this question, or did he volunteer it on his own? If he volunteered it on his own,
he was asked.
You got to start thinking, okay, where'd this come from? Do what?
He was asked.
He was asked?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Okay, by the way.
Read into it whatever you want, I guess.
Okay, Terry, you got 30 seconds. Say something nice about Tide because they're paying you a bunch of money.
Tide? Well, when Howie and I travel together, I wash our clothes because I wash clothes every day. And Tide gets all the stains out, no matter how bad the stain. Last year I had barbecue sauce on my shirt, right, Howie? And Howie knocked on my door. I took Howie's clothes and I went and put them and put my Tide in there. It's America's #1 detergent. And so Howie knows that I know how to wash clothes, and he knows I use Tide.
That's exactly how it happened.
All right, Terry, thank you for coming on the show. Howie, thank you for coming on the show.
See you soon, buddy.
This in L.A.
See you guys.
Love
Thanks.
you, man.
Love you, Howie. Give Kyle a hug for me.
All right, bud.